Hello, everybody. Welcome to the session Meet and Greet the Chairs of the Mission Boards. It's my pleasure to be here today with everyone following us and also among all the brilliant minds here. First, it's my great pleasure to welcome Commissioner Maria Gabriel. I'd like to ask you to highlight your expectations concerning European missions and also the new mission boards. Over to you, please.
Thank you very much, dear Signe, dear mission chairs, dear members of the current and past mission boards. First of all, I would like to start by expressing my gratitude. You already have done an amazing work, and I would like to use this opportunity to say thank you. At the same time, to congratulate the newly appointed members of the mission boards. We count on you. Know that you have already partners before you that have built a very solid base, but it's really time to have the next steps. So that will be my first message. Yes, let's preserve the spirit of our missions. There is a teamwork. Let's stay concrete and let's see how the next 1 year, you can see that I'm not talking anymore about the next 4 years. We can show that missions are not only a novelty on the Horizon Europe program, that's something beneficial for all our citizens, for all our regions in Europe, for all our member states. So that's why my first challenge and my expectation is how we can better communicate on what you already have achieved, on the work that you already have done. I think that we need to continue here with efforts to popularize, maybe sometime to be a little bit more simple with our messages, to make some additional pedagogical efforts. Of course, that's not everything. It's the first aspect. The second for me is now how we can accelerate the pace in order to have results available in the first half of the next year. Because you know that we already presented the results of the call for the missions. Here we have nearly 500 million euro European contribution funding. So my first message, it will be that we need to accelerate, to get results available during the first 6 months of 2023. And here, yes, I very much would like to listen to you. Where are our weaknesses? What we need to do better? How we have to intervene in a more efficient way? Because for sure, we already organized a lot of webinars, conferences, talks. We need that, but that's not enough. How we can make some additional effort to collect tangible feedback of commitment in terms of available competencies, funding, because yes, we have to demonstrate again that missions are a pan-European instrument, that's for all our stakeholders, from the local to the European level, and that's why we need to insist on one crucial expectation that they have: synergies. Synergies across programs, across instruments. And I know that this word is very beautiful, that for many years we are using it, but with missions, I think that we have an additional chance to show that that can work, especially because that's for our citizens and that's from local to the European level. So yes, here maybe it will be interesting to see what are at this stage the member states with low participation, where there is a need to intervene more, because missions are not here only for happy few, they are for everyone. And I need for that your support. Final point, another expectation, and maybe that will be my suggestion to organize something together with you. We know that when we talk about these questions, information campaigns, member states, synergies, we need the national contact points that we have with Horizon Europe program. My suggestion, it will be to organize a meeting with our chairs and the national contact points, really to show them where in their territory they can intervene to help you in your mission on cancer or smart cities or soil or oceans. I think that that can be very useful, and I would like here to say that I have not only expectations, I declare my full support and I declare my full availability to organize this meeting and to help you. So yes, well, we'll stop here. I think that it's quite big, my expectations, but allow me to say one thing. If I have big expectations, that's only because of you and your work. You created these expectations, you started to fulfill them. Of course, we are expecting the results because we count on you. Thank you.
Well, many thanks, Commissioner, for your inspiring words. And now, as you've seen, the expectations are very high. Expectations to accelerate, to create synergies, to really use the missions to their full potential in each and every member state, and also the countries which are associated to our program. Now it's time to give the floor to the chairs of the mission boards, and I would like to raise two questions. First, just can you tell a bit of your background, and then how, namely, you see the role of the new mission boards in order to fulfill all these expectations. In the interest of the time, I propose that we do only one round of interventions, just taking both of these questions at the same time. And first, I'd like to invite Ms. Hanna Gronkiewicz-Waltz, Chair of the Cities Mission Boards, to take the floor. Please, over to you.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon already. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to be and to share my experience. My background is connected with the cities. I was serving as the mayor of Warsaw for 12 years, between 2006 and 2018. And I should say that we use altogether about 4 billion euros from the European Fund. So we were quite efficient in this. I would say that the cities mission is a success, because if we had to limit to 100 cities the numbers, and 12 cities from the associated countries. But I think that if it was interested and send the application 370 cities, it means that the mission is already quite well known, because we have in Europe 800 cities. So almost 50% of them decided to send the application, to supply the application. I think that is very important also for the Commission, not only for the cities, that the Green Deal has a very important target, that it should be a reduction of 55% of emissions till 2030. So it means that we have the common goal. And it will be difficult to do it without cities, because cities they are very important, because they produce 60% of emissions. So I think that the cities mission is quite successful. Of course, we always can be better, but now when we already started a call for pilot cities in September, it was announced a call. And it's for all cities, not only for those who are selected, and the other cities will not be forgotten. So I think that it gives us possibility to have even greater success. It's very important that it's not only about technological innovation. It's also about style of governance. It's about a financial instrument, which will be probably the most difficult issue, the financial instrument, because after pandemic, after such a problem with the energy, it will be quite difficult to find the funding, but we have to do it. It should be a cooperation among EU funds, regional funds, national funds, and of course, private capital. Private capital waits, for the direction, because suffers because of these factors which I already mentioned before. But we have to try our best. Talking about new boards, I would say that it's good that there are five old members and 10, almost 10 new members, because it's always a fresh blood. It's always, insight, but of course within the frames which we already worked on.
Many thanks. Many thanks, Hannah, for sharing your views with us. We know that we have the 100 cities in the EU, plus also those from the associated countries. But certainly all these cities who applied for that, I guess they are also committed to do their bit. So certainly there would be the possibilities to share experience and actually to involve them also in the activities. Now let's get to the next mission, that is climate mission. Unfortunately, Connie Hedegaard, chair of the Climate Mission Board, cannot be here with us today, but I would like to ask Mr. Hein Pieper, a member of the Climate Adaptation Mission Board, now to take the floor. Please, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Commissioner Gabriel, for your nice words, but also I feel the pressure and the commitment means also we have to work very hard because of, I know time is running out. We have to do more than we did before. I'm one of the chairs of a Dutch water authority. We have 21, where we are trying to keep the feet dry in the Netherlands and to have sufficient water, etc. And if you maybe know, we have a long tradition about water management in the Netherlands. We are a little bit famous about it in the world. But even in our country, we have problems we can't solve by our own. We have a history of fighting against the sea, fighting against too much water, and we're bringing it to the sea as quick as possible. But the last 5 years, 4 times, we had a severe drought. The drought was severe in the east and the south of our country. We are a small country, not so big as Bulgaria or other countries. But even in the Netherlands, we see differences. In the west, there is also drought, but there's another kind of drought. And there is more a drought that they have a lack of water to push the seawater back. In the east, it is affecting not only nature and agriculture, but also other kinds of the economy. And we also see that with the low level of the Rhine, the river Rhine, and there are a lot of rivers that are affected by the drought. The drought was in the whole of Europe, I thought. 2/3 was hit by a severe drought, that the cargo of the ships was too little to supply the factories in Germany and other countries. Other is problems with drinking water in France, for example. And what we are trying as a mission, we are trying to connect all the good work that is already done. We as Netherlands, we would like to find connections with other countries, maybe in the east or the south of Europe, where we learn about the drought. And what we are doing is to try to connect not only several regions, several zones of climate, but also several kinds of sectors, disciplines, etc. We asked the regions to sign a charter. We have already 180 members who signed the charter. They are committed to help us and to work with us together, regions and communities, and it's still growing. And we think that in the next 6 months, not 6 weeks, 6 months, I think we will make a big step forwards, that you will see the connection, the network will grow, and that we can learn from each other. I think that is that connection is the first step we have to make. Thank you.
Well, many thanks, Hein, for sharing also the experience on the Dutch side, but also the possibilities really how to make connections, to share experiences, to learn from each other. Because in climate adaptations, the issues in different regions are different, but there are still ways how to learn from each other. And that's why we need the EU programs, plus also national programs related to that. Like in the Netherlands, it has been done for several decades already. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Pascal Lamy, Chair of the Oceans Mission Board, to take the floor. Please, over to you.
Thanks very much. On your first question, my background, in shorthand, governance, politics, policies, when I was young in the French government. That was a very long time ago. And then at EU level, as Chief of Staff of Jacques Delors, President of the Commission during 10 years, then as a Commissioner for Trade, and after that at global level as DG of the World Trade Organization. So, as I often said, I have gone through 3 states of governance, the solid one, national, the liquid one, the European, and the gaseous one, the global. Role of the new mission board, which I have the privilege to chair as I did it for the previous one, a different kind of job. The initial mission board was about proposing, putting together a program with a 2030 very ambitious objective. In my case, restoring the EU hydrosphere, which is in big danger of continuous degradation, oceans, seas, rivers, lakes, water tables. So stopping this and regenerating by 2030. And it's now not about listing what we have to do, it's about doing it. So switching from thinking, devising, brainstorming to monitoring, implementation, engagement, getting things done, which is a very different kind of exercise. And I'm glad that the board I have the privilege to chair is composed of roughly half of previous members and half of new members, which testify this sort of change of spirit. Challenges, of course, and I agree with Maria Gabriel on this, now implementation. We have organized the roadmap to regenerating, cleaning oceans, waters, the hydrosphere along 5 lines of action. Hence the name of our mission, which is Starfish with 5 legs. Stopping pollution, properly protecting, greening the blue economy, improving governance, and a major leg, which is science, because the reality, unfortunately, is that we know we don't know 2/3 of what we should know in order to properly address, act against the hydrosphere degradation. So 5 directions of action, 4 hubs, where the various actions will be coordinated regionally, 1 for the Mediterranean, 1 from the Atlantic Arctic region, 1 for the Baltic region, and 1 for the Danube Black Sea region, which is one way of making sure that synergies with other programs are put together locally. And that's, I think, a big condition for success. And finally, 1 charter, which is a sort of terms of engagement where public authorities, private businesses, NGOs, citizens, cities can together engage. And this leads me to a final point, which is that this very concept of missions, which is making sure that EU citizens, EU actors coalesce in order to achieve a very ambitious result, necessitates a lot of communication. And I totally agree with what Maria Gabriel said. This, for the moment, is our challenge number 1. The missions are something which is, again, still rather vague with public opinion, and you need to explain what it's about. We have 5 missions, which is 5 priorities, and we know that 5 priorities is always more difficult to explain than 1 priority. So we need to work hard in order to increase public support, public engagement, citizens' engagements, and that's the very principle of a mission. And this is a necessity. And I'm glad that the research commissioner is with us on this. That's very good, and we need your support, Maria. I know, and we know that you have a few other fishes to fry within your portfolio. But if I may, and sorry to be so blunt, but if you could decide to, let's say, devote 20% of your time, of your agenda, to supporting missions during the next year, that would help us a lot, because we need your notoriety. We need your presence on social networks, which is rather impressive. So we need you with us. You told us you were available. That's my proposal. Over to you.
Okay. Well, many thanks, Mr. Lamy. I was very glad to hear that you were really committed to make things happen. You have a very clear plan of actions, and it was also a pleasure to hear, as I'm very much devoted to citizens' engagement, that you also highlighted that. Now, with that, I'd like now to invite Mr. Walter Ricciardi, the chair of the Cancer Mission Board, to take the floor.
Thank you very much. My background is public health. I'm a public health physician, professor of public health at the Catholic University in Rome. I have been chairing both the European Public Health Association and the World Federation of Public Health Association. I've been sitting in the Executive Council of the World Health Organization, and in Italy I've been the chair of the National Institute of Health. Dear Commissioner, your inspiring speech is feeling us the urgency, and we feel the sense of urgency, which of course is important in all the missions, but in our case can be literally means the difference between life and death. Because what is happening in Europe is that with 10% of the global population, we already have 25% of the burden of disease of cancer. If we don't act now, we'll be 50% in 2035. That means that we can save with our mission 3 million lives. We can improve the quality of life of survivors. We can improve the quality of life of families. We can prevent new cancer. And essentially, what has happened in the past mission board was that a coalition of scientists, politicians, citizens, industry people work together to produce one of the most ambitious plans that has been worldwide. What's the difference with the plans that have been failing in other parts of the world? Is our value. Because we consider health as a fundamental right, and we have the means, we have the political willingness, we have the capacity to do that. So preventing the preventable is possible. We can prevent almost 50% of all cancer patients, and it's very important to work with other missions, because environmental pollution, nutrition, water, that is a very important part of determinants of disease. But of course we have to work with other people, and in particular with citizens. What was very exciting is working with citizens, feeling their anger, feeling their concern, understanding, letting them speaking in their own languages, because sometimes, English or French can be a barrier. We have been all over Europe in speaking with them and in creating and co-planning the program with them. I think this is very important. This is very important to put really the citizen in the center, and again, we will work in that direction and hope we will reach these targets.
Well, many thanks, Mr. Ricciardi. This clearly cancer mission is something which is very much understandable and easily communicated to the people, but also very good to hear that really also the mission was co-designed with the help of the citizens and also with their important inputs. And now, finally, unfortunately, Mr. Kees Veerman, chair of the Soil Mission Board, cannot be here today with us, but he has prepared a message for us, which we can now hear.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, pleased to meet you. It's at a distance, but I want to present myself first and then say something about the mission board. First, my name is Kees Veerman. I'm a farmer by profession till the end of the year. Then I will give it to my sons. But in the meantime, I'm still very much connected with farming and the agricultural society. I was educated as an economist in Rotterdam, And after that, I became professor in agricultural economics and agribusiness in Tilburg University and Erasmus University. And later on, I became president of Wageningen University and Research. And then they asked me to become Minister of Agriculture in the Netherlands, which I did for 5 years. And then I did several other works amongst advising the Commission in some respects of the value chain of agribusiness. That's what I am. And I was president, the chair of the former commission, the former mission board, the mission board on soil. And now I'm happy to present myself as the next chair of the new reformed board of the European on soil. And I very much welcome the new members of this mission board. And a few words, therefore, about the assignment of the mission board, that the newly appointed members all have received their appointment, and now we are going to work outside. We presented a report about the mission goals. Well, now the implementation phase has come. And therefore, we should reach out to the general public what the importance of healthy soils are as an essential element in the chain of life. And therefore, we have to interest citizens, consumers, but also the farmers community and the foresters and gardeners. So there is a lot of work to do, but we will have to involve the general public in the care that rests upon us all for healthy soils in the future. And we recommended in the first report to do that by means of living labs, where people come together, have ideas, and develop new ways of caring for the soil, and new agricultural techniques, new forestry elements, and nature, and connecting nature and agriculture and forestry. And we do have also the lighthouses that are recommended to be used to show what has been already reached and what has already been proven as a good technology or a good way of doing things. Well, I look forward for this in this new configuration of members of the member states, of different professions, and I hope we will manage to reach out to the citizens in Europe, all over Europe, so that we can improve the sensibility of all our people in the EU for caring for soil, because caring for soil is caring for life, essentially. So let's take this opportunity and take this assignment as a team, and let us make it better. Clean soils, healthy soils are an essential element of our own lives. So get on with the job. Thank you.
Okay, I think that was a very good conclusion. Get on with the job. And now, dear Commissioner, you've listened to all chairs of the mission boards. Do you now have the conviction that all the expectations that you mentioned at the beginning of this session will be fulfilled?
Well, I must say that I already had this conviction when we started to conceptualize our missions, but what we need is to stay critical and to address our weaknesses and to see how we can better count on our strong points. So thank you very much. I think that first, dear chairs, we have a very solid base, and this solid base is the work that we already have done. Now it's time to act, and it's time to deliver real outcomes, outcomes that will really inspire trust in our citizens, and outcomes that will show that as European Union, others are having their mission on the moon, our mission is on Earth. We are able to deliver. And yes, dear Pascal, challenge taken on board, real outcomes from the Commissioner to be more often with you and to really to popularize much more your actions. Thank you so much. Thank you. Stay mobilized, continue to be focused, and yes, let's act together, addressing the weaknesses. We have them, we have to admit this, but at the same time, yes, looking for synergies and better cooperation, and of course with the energy of the newly appointed member boards.
Well, many, many thanks, dear Commissioner, dear chairs of the mission boards. You will certainly also have the support of all the Commission services in our joint endeavour. Let's make it a success.
Thank you.